time he started wrestling, mid to late 1989. Austin started wrestling for the USWA, which was the United States Wrestling Association. So he was wrestling in Memphis and in Texas and all points in between that the USWA was running.
I rolled into Nashville, the place to live. Didn't know where to go, and they said, "Hey man, try the Congress and out Dixon Pike." So I rolled in there and checked in, and I had no money. So every week or whenever I had enough money, I would pay my rent. Times were really, really lean, and I didn't have a hot plate, I didn't have a microwave, and I remember I went to the grocery store, I bought some tuna fish cans, bought some potatoes, and for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I ate tuna fish and potato, and after a few days, I ran out of tuna fish. So for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'd peel a raw potato and eat that. A lot of guys ended up living with dancers, and a lot of guys knew where all the buffets were, any kind of all-you-can-eat thing, they knew where they were.
You had to figure out a way to survive back then. There was a time period there where I spent nights in my car. I think I'd made $11,000 in a year and put 10,000 miles in my car.
We were barely getting by. And so you're paying your dues traveling 400 miles to make $10.
And I'm making $15 to $20 a night, taking 400-mile round trips. You can't afford to eat. I remember calling my mom, and she called me and asked me how I was doing. And I said, "Mom," I said, "is there any way for my birthday this year you can just send me $40?" And it's the only time I ever asked my parents for money. And sure enough, a couple days later, my mom said that two $20 bills meant the world to me because I could afford to get something to eat again. That's part of paying the dues. And I just figured, starving or doing whatever it takes because I didn't have a plan. I wanted to be a pro wrestler, so if this is what it takes to be one, this is what I'm going to be. I showed up for my first match in Memphis, and Dutch Mantell was the booker. I go introduce myself to Dutch Mantell and say, "Hey man, I'm Steve Williams, I'm here to wrestle." He goes, "Your name is Steve Williams?" He goes, "You can't be that here." He goes, "There's already a death Steve Williams, there'd be confusion on the card." And he goes, "You got 15 minutes to come up with a name." And he walks away, and I'm just 2 months in the business, new territory, don't know anybody, and don't know what the F to do. The match is about to start, and then, I'm making a life-changing decision. And he goes, "What'd you come up with?" I said, "I ain't got nothing." He goes, "You're Steve Austin." And I started calling myself studying Steve Austin. And I had a red robe with sequins on it. All I did was wrestle, go to the gym in the morning, get in the car, go somewhere, drive back. That was life. I was a sponge, and I was absorbing all this information from these great minds who would teach me the information that they got from generations before them. You watch the matches and you listen to the crowd. You watch what they're doing. You listen to the soundtrack. How that works. That doesn't work.
A place like USWA at that point, it gave those wrestlers an opportunity where even if they were only making 10, 20 a night, the payoff was maybe someone from the WWE or World Championship Angel, and suddenly I'll be making way more money.
Well, I think studying Steve Austin definitely.
I was on the booking committee at WCW, which is World Championship Wrestling. We were all young that we could build that had potential. Gosh, she checked all those boxes.
Back in the day, the standard deal for WCW, and this is crazy, you made $75,000, guaranteed. You go from getting anywhere from 20 to 60 or $100 a night to 75,000 a year. It's like the mother load. And again, this was not a 1993. That's a lot of money, especially coming from where I came from.
WCW is a little different level. bigger television opportunities, bigger chance for national exposure.
Welcome back to World Championship Wrestling, and I'm Missy Hyatt. And now I would like to introduce Stunning Steve Austin and Vivacious Veronica.
WCW, I think it's my first appearance in the ring, and Missy Hyatt's going to interview me, and I'm walking down the aisle, and I'm in another world, right? And I hear the announcer over the crowd going, and from Hollywood, California. So I'm like, man, what is that guy talking about? I'm walking to the ring, Stunning Steve Austin. I'm like, when did my Texas ass with this accent, become from Hollywood, California?
I would just like to take this time to welcome you to World Championship Wrestling.
So I get out there and climb the ring, and I'm doing this interview with Missy Hyatt. Of course, you got the biggest booger you can have hanging out your nose. And I was like, really? It wasn't a great first appearance. Stunning Steve Austin.
Steve always had great natural intensity. It wasn't prefabricated. It wasn't manufactured. It was real. And you can see that he could tap into his athletic background to bring a reality in the fight that very few other people can match.
Oh, you see that?
He had a solid run throughout his time in WCW. At one point, he was part of a tag team, the Hollywood Blondes. They were this young, vibrant, arrogant tag team, spitting in the wind against the veterans of that company at the time. But he was always one of the secondary performers in the company.
I don't think anyone in WCW can ever visualize Steve Austin as being the top guy.
I was keenly aware that there was an upper level, and I wasn't a part of it. And unless something happened, you could not break into that next tier. Aesthetically, I didn't have the right look, and I didn't have the right gimmick or persona. They didn't think I was marketable. It was over in Japan on a 3-week tour, and the third night of that tour, I jumped off the top rope into a splashy guy, and he moved, and I tore my right tricep off my elbow, and so I wrestled for 2.5 weeks and tore the tricep. And as soon as I get back to the United States, my first major surgery. And I remember getting a call from Eric Bischoff, who was running WCW at the time. And he goes, Steve, I'm just letting you know that you're getting fired. And so that's how it went down. Got a FedEx next day, and I was out of a job. I'm sitting there trying to heal up now. The money's going to stop coming in. I got bills to pay and my family to feed. I'm like, man, what am I going to do?
In September 1995, I was the owner of the ECW and was in charge of all the creative tours. Someone from WCW buzzed me that Steve was being let go. So I called Steve and I said, hey, I heard you got fired.
Right about the phone rings, calls me. And he goes, kid, why don't you come over and start working for me? I said, Paul, I can't work. I said, I got a phone tricep.
Oh, hell, kid, I'm hurt. I can't do anything. Can you talk? Oh, hell, kid, I can talk all day long. Come on up and talk.
And I said, man, what are you up and talking about? He goes, just talk about how you feel.
If you're pissed off, coming back. Let's talk about that. I wanted that authentic outrage on my television show.
Sure enough, I am flying up to Philly. We go to a guy named ECW Arena, which is complete hell.
ECW was purgatory, basically. Probably closer to hell than purgatory. ECW is Extreme Championship Wrestling, and I dare say they earned the Extreme moniker.
At ECW, we were obsessed with delivering performances that were going to redefine the industry, with doing things that had never been done before.
They were tables and barbed wire and blood and guts and people flying into the crowd.
We took in Misfits. I mean, if there was an island for Misfit wrestlers, it was ECW.
I'm the new guy in the territory. What's my mission? What's my goal? Who am I? What am I? You know, you're kind of lost. I'll never forget that night when I took a promo. It was about 7 or 8 minutes long, and I just started talking. And it was a one-take promo, and everything I said was how I felt.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, when Bischoff told his secretary to tell her secretary to leave a message on my answering machine for me to call Eric Bischoff. And then I called Eric Bischoff, and he proceeded to fire me over the phone. We're going to put the U.S. title on you, and then we're going to take you here, and then you're the number one contender, so then you get this world title shot. Well, all that never happened.
When I wrapped up that promo and they shut off that light, everybody in that room started clapping.
Standing ovation. And rightfully so.
He was able to express himself in a way that we just could not do, or that we were not allowed to do in WCW.
And after being held down or kind of restrained in WCW, or no one believed in me, I knew that I had to take chances on myself.
You could tell that he was energized and that he had an axe to grind. He was grinding it really well.
And a lot of people say that's kind of that. Maybe that was the genesis of what Stone Cold would come from.
Steve Amelia's gonna run wild on the ECW, brother. I'm saying my fist. I'm not gonna do this anywhere, not even in ECW.
Well, Jim Ross was always an admirer of Steve Steele. So I knew ECW was always vulnerable that Jim Ross would recruit Steve into WWE. Once Steve got an interview on ECW, Jim Ross came after him. And rightfully so. How could he not? I didn't realize how fast it was going to happen.
WWE was subsidizing ECW when Steve was there. So we had our eye on him for quite some time. At least I did. I just had to wait for the right place, the right time to get him to WWE.
So man, the phone rings. It is a maroon phone. And I pick it up. Hey, I said, man. Hey, Vince, how you doing? Hey, want to bring you as the ringmaster, master of the ring.
From a creative standpoint, the character, the ringmaster, was the best in-ring performer and could do it all. And to me, that was Steve Austin.
And I'm sitting there listening to Vince make this pitch. And I'm like, ringmaster? First of all, this sounds like shit. But more importantly than that, I need more money than I'm making from ECW. And I ain't got no other options. So I said, sounds good, let's do it. When I joined WWE, I know the territory was down. You know, things weren't great. Never get by. But, you know, we would go out. I don't know, something like a house would be like, but I was like, just because it's so big, it's so big. This character's a stretch. I don't know what it is or what it's supposed to be. As a ringmaster, I didn't know what I was or how I'm supposed to do things. So it was very confusing. After a while, I just stopped wearing great trucks because they weren't paying attention to me. Something, I don't think they really got plans for me.
Vince looked at Steve, saw an average guy, says, I don't know what to do with him in that accent. It's just, I can't relate to him. There's nothing about him I can relate to.
Oh, I understood depression. I'm wasting my time.
There was no way to go with the ringmaster to make it marquee. I don't give a damn who was doing it. There's nothing there. And I said, man, this gimmick ain't worth shit. And after 6 months or so, Vince was kind of like, man, I don't care what he does. If he's not happy, he wants to come up with another name, let him. I was living in a log cabin on 10 acres right outside of Georgia in Douglasville. And I was over there in my log cabin and I was drinking some beer. And that's when they had that special on HBO about Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. Well, Richard Kuklinski was a hitman, for the mob. He's cold-blooded, he's remorseless. I I was glued to the set. When you're sitting there watching it, you got a couple of beers flowing. It's like, man, this could be something. And I pitched that, and that was when all the ideas started flowing.
And that's a tricky situation where you're fairly new in the company. Mr. McMahon has agreed to give you a character change, and you were given a list from creative. The fact that I can rattle off more of Stone Cold's names than the terrible names that I was given speaks to just how bad they were.
I just gotten those 3 pages of names like Fang McFrost,
Snowman,
Otto Von Ruthless,
Mr. Freeze,
Ice Dagger,
Cool Luke,
Fang McFrost,
Cool Cat,
Chili McFreeze. They're some of the worst names you could have to imagine.
Even given everything else in the Austin package, at least Fang McFrost, Chili McFreeze, we're not having this interview right now.
And my wife at the time made me a cup of hot tea. And she goes, drink your tea before it gets stone cold. And she looks at me, she goes, that's your name? Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not a rocket scientist, but when she said that name, I knew that was the one. I said, okay, this is a good name. And I wanted to be from Victoria, Texas, because I just thought it had a good ring to it, a good sound. But okay, now who is this guy? Who and what is Stone Cold Steve Austin? I got me some black boots made. I always thought black was badass. You're missing from Darth Vader, Oakland Raiders type stuff, and it fit my persona. I remember one time we were in Pittsburgh and we were about to work Mellon Arena, and there was that buzz haircut. I looked in the mirror and I said, man, what are you doing? So I buzzed it all off with a razor, and then that's when I started messing with the mustache and finally turned into a goatee. So I started. Once I got that goatee down, that's when things started getting a little bit more menacing, and it picked up the visual that I needed.
I believed in the character because the character was a real person. Steve totally embraced the presentation of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He loved it. He owned it. He created it. He was bold enough to bet on himself and push until the big man almost threw his hands up and said, okay, sure, that's right. He just needs a chance. Give him a reason to be a main event guy.
1995 to 1996, Stone Cold starting to find himself as a character, and then they have the 1996 King of the Ring tournament, which would take place in June. The King of the Ring is a one-night pay-per-view. Wrestlers all go through this tournament, and the winner is pretty much earmarked to be the next great star. That's the message from the company. We're going to try and push them and promote them and move them up behind the scenes. It had already been planned. Triple H was going to win King of the Ring. But before that, Triple H ended up punished for his role in something called the curtain call.
We didn't know in the wrestling business. We're all in this team together at Madison Square Garden. Myself, Triple H, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. We were expressing a real friendship out there that had really nothing to do with whatever was going on in the WWE at the time, or from a storyline standpoint. We were pulling the curtain back more so than anyone wanted the curtain being pulled back. It's very frowned upon, and Triple H got in a lot of trouble.
You know you were on the director's
Yeah, oh yeah. It was already. Vince had sat me down, talked to me about it. Here's where I want to go, King of the Ring, and for me that was the next level, right? And that all went away.
So in the pecking order, as you looked at it, you looked at who needed that boost and who needed maybe just a nudge. Steve was the guy.
I'm walking in the building, dragging my suitcase behind me. I hear this voice. It's Vince. He goes, Steve, I just want to let you know, in 2 weeks you win a King of the Ring. I was pretty happy. Because when you win the King of the Ring, you're going to get a big shove after that. And before there were no future plans for me. I go to Milwaukee, Mecca Arena, and I go out there and I'm working with Mark Merrill. And we do this thing around the match, and he kicks me in my mouth. And we finished the match. I did. My mouth is busted open pretty bad, so they take me in an ambulance to the hospital. And so I get stitched up 14 stitches or whatever in my upper lip. And they bring me back. Because I'm going to wrestle Jake and Snake Roberts in the finals. And I'm going to beat Jake and come from the ring. When I come back, my mouth is stitched up. And as soon as I get out of the ambulance, there's Michael Hayes. We're in the back of the Mecca Arena. And he came out. He was going to the ring, go take on Jake. I mean, literally going to the ring. And I said, Jake just cut a promo. He goes, what do you say? And I said, you know, he just uses some Bible quotes and, you know, that he was going to win.
My soul was purchased by the blood of the Lamb. But so how can I lose if I just go out there and know the power above is reaching down and lifting me up?
And when he told me that, I immediately thought of the football days back in the day when they're kicking the field goals a point after. They always had John 3:16 signs behind the field goal. So anyway, we go out there and we have the match, myself and Jake. And because my lips were busted up, we had a real short match. After the match, I go over there to do the interview with Michael Hayes and smart me up.
You thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass.
Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. Said, I just whooped your ass. I just whooped your ass. And thus, a franchise reform. There was a vibe of like a rocket ship igniting its engine to take off.
That was the moment where the character really became a star. That's the epicenter of the explosion that eventually happened.
I remember thinking halfway through this promo, like, I'm watching this guy get made. And part of me was like, holy, that should have been me. But also, well, I wouldn't have cut that promo.
And I think the stitches in his lip and coming back only added to the aura of that interview.
I just got back to the hospital. So I just kind of put that together in my head. And I didn't know what kind of holy moment that was, but it was. And then on the backside of it, I know I needed to wrap it up. I needed to put a button on it.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, was on the spot. I went to bat twice, and they had 2 grand slams. Out of any event, I was never supposed to win. Next time we showed up, all of a sudden there's Austin 3:16 signs, and we realized there might be something here.
Next night on Raw, you saw all these Austin 3:16 signs all over the building.
I remember thinking to myself at that time, man, everything happens for a reason, because this guy is going to be massive now.
One day, talking to our merch guy, I'm sitting in the arena. He goes, Steven, Office Tyler wants to come up with a t-shirt for you. You got any ideas? I said, you goddamn right I do. I said, put Austin 3:16 on the front, put a skull in the back, and carve in Stone Cold. Okay, Steven. Sure enough, we came up with that shirt and sold like a son of a bitch.
From that point on, when he got the chance to speak, there was an intensity there that you couldn't help but want to watch that segment. The way he walked, the way he stalked opponents, the way he looked at people, he had an icy glare. Because he was in the zone at that level, you couldn't help but be like, gotta see what he's gonna do.
You keep asking me stupid questions. No second thought, I'll whip your asses right now. Stone Cold never gave a rat's ass about anybody. I don't know what pressure is, fat boy. I got a big bunch of bananas, and I can tell you where to stick each and every one of them. You ain't worth the sweat off of my brow.
I mean, Steven, if you were on TV, I wouldn't let you watch you.
You're a piece of garbage. See, take a camera and stick it, son. I ain't leaving yet, and you can stop counting me down. Because I done told you what, son. We got a damn problem. Hey, wait a minute, no more. I didn't do the work. Production assistant. No.
He is now the guy in the eyes of the audience. He can do no wrong. They want to be part of that chaos. They want to be part of that energy. They want to go and experience Stone Cold Steve Austin, the act live.
And you really start feeling that momentum because you're finally getting the desired response that you want from these people. So now that I'm getting that feedback, I can feed it to you throughout that period of time. I'm trying my hardest to entertain you or grab your heartstrings to make you feel what I'm feeling, channel that. I'm doing my damnedest to try to affect you, and I guess I was effective at making people feel emotions.
Here's a perception that Steve just came out of nowhere. That's a misconception on a lot of people's parts. Stone Cold lived with him, and it took 10 years to come out.
So if you look at that time period, WWE was at its lowest point. The only way they could have gone any lower is going out of business or for the company to fall apart. He dragged them into success. Austin's ascension is tied intricately to the ascension of WWE. We're coming back to life. The flame isn't dead. By 1997, Stone Cold's the hottest he's ever been. The company's building him as one of the biggest stars in their company. He's driving revenue. He's selling merchandise. He's making money.
But up next, ladies and gentlemen, the Intercontinental Championship matchup. It's Owen Hart in a title defense against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Me and Owen were going to have a hell of a match. And we had this plan where he'd end up going to the twin stone pile driver. And I said, you go down your knees, right? Because I'm looking for clearance. He goes, no, I got on my ass. I said, but it seemed like you got to go down your knees. He goes, no. And when Owen said, this is how I do it, I trusted him because he's Owen Hart. And so anyway, we get out there and things go like they did. And man, when he goes to his ass, and my head is sticking out about 6 inches below his ass. And boy, I got spiked in the mat, and it was not good.
Let's see what Austin can do with him. Go! How about that?
Yeah, it was gnarly. You could tell immediately that Steve was, that he was injured.
It sounded like someone hit a big gong. And it was my skull, striking that damn ring dead center in the middle. And then I didn't feel anything. I'm laying there and I'm paralyzed, and I was like, man, on one hand I could have freaked out and got scared, but instead I remained calm. It was like, don't touch me, I can't move. And so he starts buying time. I think I'm never going to move again.
As soon as he got injured, I called his wife up. I said, did you really get hurt? Or is this a show? He said, no, he really got hurt. That was in 1997, to this day. I just turned out here about.
I'm thinking, I got to get out of this match. I got to get out of this match so we can go back. And Earl Hebner's a referee in that match. And I told Earl, I said, tell him roll up for the win. I thought I could start moving my arms and legs. And when I tried to, if you go back and watch that, it's like my knees are creaking to get in a crawl position. And I can't crawl like this because my hands don't work. So I crawl using my forearms. And I could give him the initial thing that goes with me, and he doesn't try to fight it. It's the worst roll up in the history of the business. And man, I am gone. But when, the clock is bleeding for 60 seconds, and my world has been turned upside down. The referees come to the ring, and three of them help me up. I got my arms around their shoulders, and I pull them off because I want to get up and I want to address that crowd and hold up that belt. And the only reason I held up that belt was just seeing the crowd that, hey man, I'm cool. And man, when you look at that, my eyes are open, but I'm worlds away. The referees hit me to the back, and as I'm walking, this leg is dragging behind me quite a bit because of my nerve damage.
I watched Steve stand up on legs that he couldn't feel. I don't know how in the hell still that he was able to get up. That's a will that supersedes what the body can do.
Everybody thought I broke my neck. I didn't break my neck. I bruised my spinal cord. I'm a pretty tough guy. On that night, I was 1% tough and 99% lucky. And that's why I get a little bit emotional about it, because if anything would have went any differently, I'd have been in a wheelchair. I wouldn't be sitting here and talking to you. Nothing that ever happened after that would have happened. Everything was on the line. I put the pair of shorts on and I was sitting up there against the wall. And I was like, well, I was shaking. I kind of started crying a little bit because it scared me so bad.
I think an injury of that magnitude makes us question our own mortality, and that's not something we're often faced with.
And I remember initially Dr. Torg said, man, you're not getting back in the ring.
And it's easy for a doctor to sit there and tell me maybe you ought to think about doing something else. But this is what Steve Austin does for a living. I've done it for 8 years. Austin 316 started a year and a half ago, and I ain't ready to give that up for nobody. And no one's going to run me out of wrestling, and there ain't a doctor in the world that can make me quit.
It took me long enough to get to the top. And you get to the top, and it's like, man, you're riding a lightning bolt, and you're going 100 miles an hour. Then all of a sudden, man, out of nowhere, you come to a screeching halt.
There was this opportunity we worked so hard for, and like that could all be over.
After that bad injury, my anterior delts were on fire for like a couple of weeks. I mean, like someone put icy hot on them. It was the weirdest thing. But I didn't think it was ever going to stop. And it turned into an itch, and then finally it went away. So when I took that pile driver back today, when those refs carried me out and watched my left leg kind of dragging behind me. So like if I get cold, that leg will kind of, it just doesn't respond the same. And just when you bruise your spinal cord and that stuff happens, it does a reverse. So I've got some atrophy and some stuff like that. Coming out of the pro wrestling business, I asked the guys that are 5 years older than me and 10 years older than me, hey man, how you feeling? So I kind of know what's next, or what they're going through, because I know they've been through the same that I have. I've never had any neck pain. Everybody always thinks, hey man, Steve got dropped on his head and he got a fusion, his neck's all jacked up. Man, I feel good. Every now and then if I'm sitting around too long, I'll get a little gimped up, just got to stretch a little bit. But I really can't complain about anything. Through all the surgeries and just the wear and tear of the road, for what it's worth, through all the stuff, I feel good.
To WWE's credit, Steve's credit, they managed to take that injury, and he became even bigger.
It's been said that anything can happen here in the World Wrestling Federation, but now more than ever, truer words have never been spoken. This is a conscious effort on our part to open the creative envelope, so to speak, in order to entertain you in a more contemporary manner.
For me, the start of the Attitude Era was the day in late 1997 when Mr. McMahon addressed the roster, admitted that the old days were gone, and that if we were going to succeed, we would have to put our own personal emphasis into these characters.
The Attitude Era is a point in time in pro wrestling history where WWE got a lot edgier. It becomes violent, it becomes chaotic, they push sexuality with women, they push storylines that were blatantly over the top.
Everybody felt this interesting shift that was happening in wrestling, and that seismic shift now was away from the cartoon era, the superhero era, if you will, in pro wrestling, into an edgier, reality-based program. The Attitude Era was the era of reality, the era of pushing the limits as far as we could. It's the golden era.
The Attitude Era, a lot of it was blending reality and fiction. It was more real and more versions of ourselves, just with the volume turned way up.
I would imagine doing the suck-in probably caused more suspensions and detentions in school than any other thing in the history of school in America.
We saw the very best of what people had to offer, and Steve had to have been the best of all of us at bringing that to the plate. He was in a different stratosphere.
It was the era of holy shit. Steve's Glass was the soundtrack to holy shit.
No matter what was happening, holy shit, right? Like that was the moment. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it.
Whether it's arena of 2,000 or 3,000 or 100,000, they know when that glass breaks, there's a sun that's coming out there to deal out a can of war bass.
When that glass broke, here he came, this whole, head bouncing, and he's saying whatever he's saying under his breath, and you see that attitude.
I remember the first time I heard that glass break and I saw him walk down to the ring. It was the first time that I ever got goosebumps in my entire life. 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 people were going absolutely insane. I said, I want to be like that guy. In that moment, I said, I need to be a pro wrestler.
That was the walk of a guy who had been down the road, paid his dues, learned the business, got over despite what anybody else thought about him. This guy's not marketable. He's never going to draw no money. The company finally picked me, and that's the guy who walked in the ring.
The character of Stone Cold Steve Austin was a very reality-based persona, which is not what this industry was built on. So the whole Attitude Era that was ushered in as an extension of the personality that was brought out by Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that makes him, in many ways, the most pivotal human being and character in pro wrestling history.
Now we have to go a little bit higher. Now we have to go a little bit bigger. Stone Cold's success in the Attitude Era can be attributed to many people. But in order for your star hero to become successful, he has to have real, viable villains. Mr. Man was the greatest villain in the Attitude Era. Warner.
Take away that thing you desperately wanted as a fan, and it drove me insane. And that's why the Attitude Era was so popular, was that Vince versus Stone Cold, rivalry.
Vince and I were tailor-made for each other to work together. Vince was unique because he was the owner. Now he's feuding with me. It's a real storyline.
You can kiss my ass.
All of a sudden, it wasn't just about wrestling. It was about this guy who was an employee against his boss. And everybody's an employee that has a boss. And a lot of times, the employee has not liked what the boss has done or said to him.
Screw you! You're fired!
This is crazy. He really is. That stuff is not far from what Vince would do, is what Mr. McMahon did.
Mr. McMahon has characters no way in the world like me. We'll start with that. I'm bloody arrogant.
I am a handsome, affluent entrepreneur.
Rich.
I said black tie.
You can treat people like crap.
The thought of you, Austin, makes me physically ill. Makes me want to vomit.
Everyday people saw something of themselves in Steve, and they saw Mr. McMahon as the system that was holding him down.
Nobody, especially Vince McMahon, tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do, and that's the bottom line.
It was the consummate working class hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin, against the machine. Steve was the rage against the machine.
That's one of the Corvettes of Mr. McMahon's collection.
At that time, everybody wanted to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Captured everybody's feelings perfectly.
You are the world's dumbest son of a bitch. Vince was like Timmy Cannon started getting to work with me because he always wanted to be a wrestler. He finally got a chance to perform, not just oversee and give instructions. If you go back, man, you watch some of the blue jeans I wore, some of the shorts I wore, people would get ringing tight. I couldn't physically pick my leg up high enough. Always the target is the gut. But when you can't pick your leg up high enough, right below the stomach is the testicles. You didn't know where those kicks were going. You really had no idea. You had no idea. You had to make contact with somebody. So many times I picked you up right in the jewels and this is Steve. No, if Steve kicks you, I didn't have a link or something like that. It's easy to sell that. We had to keep upping the game a little bit. So, what could Stone Cold do to up the game? We had boards and stuff.
What the hell can Steve do? Something crazy. I don't know. Drive a Zamboni to the ring.
Seriously, that's how it happened.
Zamboni is the, yeah, that's nice. Just, oh man, that's great.
How about you, Doctor?
Oh, I'll take it from here. I gotta worry about hitting that bet. Stainless steel bet. Some bitches, it's hard. You got to. Watching Steve down the hallway, hospital. And he's hitting his head. I was kind of just bouncing it. When you hit people with objects for a living, you become an expert at hitting people, with objects for a living. So when I swung it, boy, I just reached out and grabbed it and nailed it with it. It ain't not me, it's a person. I love this. The guy would do absolutely anything for me. And I would for him too. This one very special. And Steve said, man, there's a period there where everything we did was a home run and a grand slam. And if you had double or triple, it was a bad day.
At his peak, Steve was one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Austin 316 shirts were now in Spencer's Gifts and Hot Topic and Walmart and going Foley's and Macy's. There's Austin 316. He was everywhere.
And of course, he had one quarter where he made $1 million selling t-shirts. If you look at any sales chart, Steve Austin's t-shirts are still amongst the best sellers in WWE to this day.
When it first hit me, when me and my wife lived in Las Vegas, every single person I saw walking the streets, everybody has Steve Austin t-shirts on. It's crazy.
If you turned on the TV, all of the night shows. He's walking Stone Cold. That is good to be here.
Steve Austin.
Any show like that, he was on it. Commercials. Can I get one more of those? Sure.
Wrestling just came in like a tsunami.
Thanks, Dad. That helps.
SportsCenter wasn't embracing wrestling back then. And I just remember this tidal wave of whether you're accepting us or not, here we come. I wasn't even a wrestling fan, but he was so big he crossed over into mainstream.
We'd like to welcome back Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He was bigger than wrestling. People who aren't wrestling fans or don't care about wrestling, even they knew who Stone Cold was.
When you cross over like that, that's, you made it.
Hey, man. What you do, man? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
When Austin 316 became so hot and everybody had heard about it, and we would be, in an airport, and I'd get preachers and priests and religious people, hey, say, hey, man, is it okay if I get your autograph? I said, sure. I said, I thought you'd be mad at me for inventing the Austin 316 thing. He said, oh, no, we don't care.
Steve's legacy is one that kind of makes it hard for us to be WWE superstars. His impact is felt in a way that none of us can kind of compare to. We certainly try, but there's always going to be somebody somewhere who's going to say, pretty good. Not Stone Cold, though.
When it was at its peak during the Attitude Era, it was Mob City. It's like the Beatles just landed. It was amazing. It sounds glamorous, but you're choosing to be on the road a lot. You have to love the business to put yourself through that. That's where you really start evaluating your entire life.
And when you're running like I was, at my peak, it's hard to do anything other than be a pro wrestler because it consumes everything about you. You are in go mode 24/7, 365. You are a slave to the road, and you never want to come off the road because if you come off the road, it gets soft. Soft is never home. That's a recipe for disaster. It all looks fun when you're sitting on TV, but it ain't always TV. TV is a very small part of the life that you live when you're doing that job.
The pressure was immense for him. And part of that was, I think, because he had so much going on as the pressures mounted around him work-wise. He had a lot of pressures at home and a lot of pressures with his family. And yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot.
And that's the thing about the business. You've got all the personal problems that everybody else does. I've got two daughters. Stephanie Britt's the oldest, Cassie Sky's the youngest. And I remember I came home. I think when Stephanie was born, I flew in. I was in New York City. I worked in New York. I was in the Garden. Then I flew home. I was there for her birth. And then as soon as she was born, I held her, gave her like a first bottle. I got on an airplane and I was in Pittsburgh that night working.
The truth is, even guys that were married and had families and things like that, they were more married to the road and the business. To be successful in this industry, you have to be willing to commit an enormous amount of time away from being home. There's just no other way to do it. It's an extremely difficult life. It really is. If you have a family, it's so difficult. It's so difficult on everybody. I think that's probably why there's such a high rate of divorce and things of that nature.
I try to not bring up that stuff. I knew what family life was like. It's unsatisfying. It's a source of consternation. It's a source of crying children and heartbreak. It's a source of unhappy spouses. Don't let you make a conscious decision. Hey, I put everybody else in the back burner, but I decided to get a divorce. You know, when you go through divorce, they're chaotic. So obviously you're very distracted. I was living in a house, but once I decided to get a divorce, I moved literally about 2-3 miles down the road in a little double wide. And although I was going through pain or whatever goes with a divorce, when I moved in that double wide, made a double wide, for some reason there's synergy. I had 2 cinder blocks with a 1x12 plate where my TV was, and my cooler, full of beer. Too bad that the marriage didn't work out, but I found comfort and solace in that double wide. You can be in the business and you can still live a full life, but everything else is kind of like white noise. I'm putting all my chips in my own basket, and this is what I'm doing. And that was the first and foremost priority, was me. Selfish, I was. And I was going to ride myself and everything that the business had to get to the top and do the best I could.
There's a sacrifice to greatness, and it's a price that a lot of people are not willing to pay because there is an intensity to it. There is an obligation to your own vision and dreams that you have to service at all costs over and above everyone else in your life, including yourself. Your own self-interests take a back seat to your dreams and aspirations of what you want to achieve. He's had multiple marriages that fell apart. He's had multiple friendships that will never be repaired. But that's the price you pay to look back on a body of work and have everyone else around you say, he changed the game.
Man, I am very demanding. I was a professional wrestler. It's what I lived and died for.
He took a lot of things personally. He wanted everything to be perfect. And he always wanted to be challenged to do the best and the creative. He kept your star happy. Keep your talent happy as best you can.
If
you don't build new stars, you can't feed the superstars at the top. So when Steve became the big star in the business, he knew he needed a fresh rotation of brand new stars to work with. Mr. McMahon couldn't do that equal because once they got into the ring together, it wasn't a very good match. It needed someone that you could honestly look at and say, this guy can measure up to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Good one comes to Stone Cold. That opponent should be on TV regularly and go 6 months without losing. Start planting those seeds. Can you imagine what this guy's going to be like when he takes on Stone Cold Sunday?
My first couple of years in the business, I watched this guy, Steve Austin, ascend to the top and start to achieve this incredible popularity. And I would just quietly watch in the shadows, study his behavior and watch how he operated, because that was a position that I wanted to be in. And I think he knew that.
I just remember watching him starting to gain momentum, starting to establish a relationship with the crowd. He's starting to get over. There's something here. I need to watch this.
And I remember him saying something to the effect of, "There's something there, kid. There's something there." There was also this bond, like he was a big brother in a way. And then we knew that we were going to converge and that we were going to work together.
And as far as for The Rock is concerned, the greatest book ever written is the one titled The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They were natural together. They had great chemistry. I think that Steve and Rock liked each other, so that helped. And they both rode that wave.
I love the relationship of The Rock and Steve because they were both very, very competitive. They were always wondering how the other was feeling, how the other was doing. They never left each other's radar. They pushed each other. They made each other better.
In the world of pro wrestling, you can only control so much. And after that, it becomes the intangible. And that intangible, what everybody searches for, is chemistry. I knew exactly what he was going to do all the time. He knew exactly what I was going to do all the time. That's just kind of the special thing that you just feel.
And it's like watching two comets fly through the sky and hit each other. It never happens.
I think it was the apex. I mean, it was really the peak. And Steve Austin and The Rock were the two hottest stars in the business.
We were fighting for the exact same thing, and that was the #1 top spot in the company at a time where the company was on fire. It's really rarefied air, and we were fighting for that rarefied air. But it was out of so much love and so much respect.
God, it was so fun to watch. Being privileged to see something like that, where these two big talents coming together. Man, that was a great night. Rock and I never rode the roads together. We ran with a different crowd. But whenever we see each other, it's just like the last time we left off. It's a friendship that is forever.
That was a guy who looked at me and said, you and me, we're going to go, and we're going to go to the dance. That decision to take me, if you will, under his wing, it changed my life.
Steve's going to be the first one to tell you that he's got just a core group of friends. I mean, he's not going to just be your best friend just to be your best friend.
They say it's lonely at the top, and I think Steve was pretty lonely.
I ran with myself. I was lone wolf. My place was on top of that roster, on top of that car. There's so much jealousy. really love the thing I came up with years ago. DTA, don't trust anybody.
DTA, don't trust anyone, makes for a good catchphrase. I don't know if it's the best way to go through life, but I think that is how Steve went through his life at that time.
The DTA, don't trust anyone thing. That wasn't Steve playing a character. Angry, bitter, paranoid. Like there was a lot of that. Steve's a very private guy. He just is. He never really talked about his home life. Every now and then he'd tell you something about his family, but for the most part, he's kept all that stuff to himself. People have always asked me about my daughters. In the past, I haven't talked too much about them. It was because of the strained relationship that it was, and me being gone all the time. I never won Father of the Year because I'm purely on the road. I'm going to come home for my 2 days off every now and then. I'm going to cook some flank steaks on the grill and drink beer. That's as much as I'm contributing. I hate to say that. That's the way it was. They knew that I loved them, but I wasn't there. Like 2001, my wife took the kids over to England to visit her side of the family. 9/11 happened, and then that's when everybody was, or at least she was afraid to fly. They kind of stayed over there. I was always gone anyway, so what's the big deal? So they stayed over there, and they kept staying over there. And as time went on, well, I called Stephanie just to talk to them, and we started talking, and she had a proper London accent. When I hung up the phone, I started crying like a baby because she used to sound exactly like I do. For better for worse, without 400 words, she had my same accent. And to hear her with an English accent, yeah, that shook me up. Because I was like, okay, yeah, you know, what did I do wrong or could have done better? Now that they're older, we're on the way to building better relationships. So now they're pursuing their own things. I support them. If I can give them any advice, I do. Through all the BS that has happened, we're talking now. The relationships, as strained as they were, they're better now, but it's still a building block. Because truly, after all these years, we still don't know each other as well as we should.
That was the Faustian bargain that he cut with himself in order to myopically, obsessively go after the success that he knew in his heart he could achieve.
You have to get it while you can, and then hope that you can make up for all the other stuff that you put on the shelf while you went out and lived your dream. There's a lot of casualties that come with that, and you have to be willing to accept that. Your window's really small. For most guys, it really is a small window.
He always felt like he was going to lose his spot in line if he was not on the road. I can't be home. I got to be on the road with the rest of the guys. Because somebody else might have a great match. They're going to be noticed, and I'm not. The drive, the lust for that, you can never get away from it.
Anytime that someone is successful, they have a hands-on approach. Steve had a very hands-on approach when it came to the presentation of what he was going to do. Steve was very demanding. Steve could be guilty of, this sucks. Okay, it sucks. What do you want to do to make it better? I don't know, goddamn, you're right something. Steve would get mad, throw it away, and storm off.
This was at a time when The Rock was taking a break in Hollywood. And Stone Cold Steve Austin needed an equal.
Steve would have been very easy to maintain and manage if we'd always had a good opponent ready for him. And why wouldn't we? I think that's what led to a lot of Steve's frustration. Complaining about his opponents, complaining who he was working with. He wasn't getting red hot villains. Nobody's ready and nobody's been groomed for me. The process had failed him. When the creative stuff started going south a little bit, it had a more profound effect on him than it would a lot of guys. Because he felt like his foundation started to crack.
I was like, dude, what is going on here? When you've been trying so hard, so long to be that guy, you get that chance, you ain't letting it go.
I found out what creative had in mind for Steve and Brock Lesnar. Yeah, the version of events. Well, you're going to work with Brock tonight, you're going to lose. And it certainly was very premature to try to have
Steve and Brock wrestle with no build-up. This is a match that could sell out indoor stadiums, but there's no story there. They're thrown together, and it meant nothing.
Jim Ross calls me as the creator for Monday Night Raw. Tells me, long story short, that I'm doing a job for Brock Lesnar. I said, oh, really? I said, well, if that's going to be the case, I ain't going to be there. So sure enough, I woke up, I had 2 Bloody Marys, got on an airplane, and I was flying back to San Antonio. Then I was there. It ain't about winning or losing. I'll let anybody beat me. As long as it's for a reason, it means something, and there's money behind it. And so I said, I ain't doing it. And I went home. It was over. I was done. And it cost me a lot of respect from my peers, a lot of money, and that's what I did. And as they said it, I took my ball and went home.
And it felt like he kicked everybody in the coyotes, you know. Felt like all of a sudden, wait a minute, what is wrong with him? How was he thinking this way?
To his credit, Vince called me 3 times, and left me a voice message each time. I never called him back. And I didn't want to talk to him on the phone. I was still hot. And for about 6 months, I was hunting, fishing, and drinking, and not necessarily in that order, and making a lot of bad decisions. You know, just time was going by. Finally, I'm going through my mail. There's a card from Jim Ross. I didn't expect a card from Jim Ross. Hey, man, just checking on you. Want to see if you're okay. If you ever want to talk, give me a call. And I felt right then that was my friend throwing me a lifeline. I called him up. Back when they had those old Motorola flip phones, I burned through 2 batteries talking to Jim.
We did speak for hours. Life, football, you know, booking, marriage, relationships, what he really needed to solve.
He goes, hey, man, you think if I put you in the old man building, you can hash this out, put behind you, and come back to work? I said, I'd love that. He facilitated the meeting between myself and Vince. And I'm thinking, man, we're going to fight or hug. We started talking. We hashed it out. I told him what I was thinking. And we got back on the same track. And then shortly thereafter, I returned to work.
It's good to see you.
When I did come back, I knew what I'd done. So I remember going up to basically the whole locker room. Yeah, I apologize to my guys. And it was warranted.
Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin is back. I can guarantee that I am going to raise more hell in this ring than I've ever raised in my life.
I came back for a few months, but man, it's a hard-ass job. I was backstage with Bruce Pritchard one time, and I just kept having this nerve jump in my leg. And it was just like everything, my nervous system was so shot. You know, the atrophy in my hands and other things that I was going through was like finally starting to unwind me. It's like, dude, when is your body going to give you enough signals that you need to get your ass out of here?
The feeling was basically that he had pushed the limits as far as he could, and that it was time that he didn't want to push them anymore. And I think Steve just saw the writing on the wall.
Dude, I can't imagine how it was. I'm not going to like I used to do. The decision that his career was over. He had to resign himself to the fact this is as far as the character goes. Steve had enough of your bullshit, bro.
The question then would who we wrestled. Steve in the old water. He wanted to move on. He owed it to Rock. But he didn't want to distract from the Rock getting the win. But he understood this is his last match. So we kept that confidential. It's a professional thing to do. And it shows great love and respect for your wife.
It's bigger than wrestling. It's like The Rock. And so I didn't tell anybody at all. Obviously, Vince knew, Jim Ross knew. And I told The Rock.
When I found out that his last match was going to be with me, I had really mixed emotions. You know, we hugged, and it makes me a little emotional now because it is the ending of a career that has been so influential on not only me, but the world of wrestling that we love.
It hurt to walk away. It was a real tough decision to make, but I just figured it was the best decision for me.
I think the days leading into WrestleMania 19 were miserable for him. How am I going to do? Deliver? What are people going to say? How do I look?
The day before WrestleMania, I was at the gym. Just that time, I was drinking about 3 bottles of wine a night, 2 pots of coffee in the morning to get up, and a bunch of energy drinks to get you going. Really dehydrated. Man, my feet kept jumping, just nervous reactions. I was like, man, what is going on? And I was staying at the Grand Hyatt Hotel there in Seattle. And I went up to the floor that I was on. As soon as I got out of the elevator, man, my heart started beating out of my chest so hard and fast, it scared me out of me. And I was thinking, man, I'm dying. I just got my number called. I'm gone. And there was a WWE employee named Liz Patton coming down the hallway. And I looked at her, and she could see that I was as serious as a heart attack, no pun intended. And I said, Liz, I'm in trouble. They took me down to the emergency room, and they put all these tests on me. They thought I had a pulmonary embolism. They thought a bunch of things. And the thing was that I was just basically dehydrated, drinking too much alcohol and way too much caffeine. And finally, it's time to stop.
So Vincent over there, he put too much on himself. He worried too much. He overthought the situation.
So I woke up the next morning. The doctor didn't want to discharge me. He wouldn't clear me to wrestle. But I was going to wrestle, and I was going to wrestle The Rock. Get to the building. Walk around, see everybody going through the motion. Hey, Steve. If I talk to anybody or hardly said anything, I was about to start crying. You make the decision to walk away from your number one passion that you love for. Oh, man, I'll make this go away. So I was like this all day long. And then, of course, when you get ready for the match, it's like, okay, man, let's go turn it on, rip it up. If your heart explodes. I died in the ring. Hey, man, what better place to go than in Mania, in the middle of the ring with The Rock? So, you can't plan a better death than that. I take it all in. I feel everything. And I sense everything. The smell, the feel, the love, the tone of that building.
It ain't about nothing but a wrestling match between two of the greatest that have ever been in the ring. Oh, that's a clothesline. And The Rock, is he gonna do it? Big one.
When that 3 count hit, it was like I was just laying there. It was like someone lifting 1,000 pounds of bricks off my back. Damn near 70,000 people in that building. A couple million watching on pay-per-view.
We were both laying in the middle of the ring. And I sat up. And I remember I pushed the referee, head another way.
He knew that I was going. He knew that I didn't want to go. And this was a hard decision for me to make.
I lowered my head down to Steve's ear, and I said, I can't thank you enough for everything that you have done. And then I said, I love you.
I remember was laying there in front of 70,000, man. And I love you too. I told him I love you. Verbatim, I said, I love you too. 2 big ass, tough ass guys telling each other that they love the other one in front of millions of people.
I felt like that was the time to tell Steve, because there is no other moment in our world where we are as raw open and vulnerable than in that moment right there. When the 1, 2, 3 happens, it's just two men who've gone on this incredible journey. You know, I get goosebumps now thinking about it. That was the moment to say, man, I love you, and I can't thank you enough.
What makes Steve's career different than most others is just how hot he got, how fast he got hot, and how short of a time he had to enjoy it. I was seeing the end as something that will never be replicated. Seeing the end of a moment in a pop culture genre that will never be reproduced.
Now I can go enjoy the life that I have in front of me. You know, retirement always sounds good. And then there I was. I was doing nothing. I was going crazy. Straight up, I hit the bottom pretty hard.
I do know that he was a bit lost after, having to leave the business, trying to redefine himself and see what is life after wrestling. He had 3 years that he talked about how he was just drinking, eating, and just a little bit depressed.
I'll tell you, it's a true story. Woke up one morning, I love myself, man. Dude, things that you were doing are not conducive to living a long life. You better straighten your ass up. It took me 3 years of being up to come to my senses to say, you know what? You had to quit the business. You ain't doing nothing now. You better get your ass out to LA and try to capitalize on at least, some part of the name that you spent so long trying to build up.
Look at me, you piece of trash.
Guys been running around saying you could take me in a fight.
I wouldn't say that.
Let's get busy, Hollywood. Initially, I came out to California to get into acting. I quickly realized that I didn't really want to do that. And when I found hosting and reality television type stuff, that's when I knew I kind of found my niche. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Gary King Lawler. My next guest on Broken Skull Session. Check it out. That's the bottom line. Because I said so.
Fall asleep with a cigarette.
I know.
So I started podcasting.
I don't want to do that.
You gotta do that, bro.
I guess you just all.
I'm not trying
Do
to.
what I said.
I'm passing out or something.
Yeah, I hear you. Take a picture of me. You all right, buddy?
I'm fine. I don't want to.
You know I'm playing with you,
I
right?
know.
All right.
My problem is that I'm type A personality. I'm always in a hurry. I'm in a hurry when I don't have anything to do. This is Brownie. I shot the lab we rescued about 3 weeks ago. These are my Kawasaki TRX 1000s. This is my Corvette, the CLX 450. This truck right here is a 1966 Chevy CT. I'm not a wrestler anymore. I had a good time doing it. But at the end of the day, now it's about life.
You step through the curtain, you're in front of your paying customer. And that's where you gotta be the person they perceive you to be on television. You're that person from the first step through the curtain until the last step back to the curtain. You're performing out there.
Talk about your songs, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. Nobody tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do, and that's the bottom line. Stone Cold says so.
You come back to the curtain.
celebrate that moment when I sit back through the curtain. So I did. Did they like me? Did I do all I can do? Did I maximize my minutes? Did I back through? It's where the rubber meets the road. That curtain is a big thing. And how you navigate the curtain, how you react to both sides of it, rises, fails, your success in the pro wrestling business.
I got placed in a really good situation. I got a chance to have my life, and something I love. But like I still feel like I'm sitting there in the damn chair and I'm still Steve doing my mind and my eyes. That's me. That's all I'm saying.
That pulse in the ear. Pulse microwave.
Let the match begin.
I love this stuff.
The fans erupt at the bell. I've never seen that, never heard that in our sport.
I started to see what they were.
He's slowing down the pace. Remember, Hogan doesn't have to beat Goldberg. And Goldberg lasts an hour, and Hogan lasts an hour with Goldberg. Vince, as we said earlier, we'll stay with you as long as it takes to conclude this matchup. Immediately, Goldberg uses the power. Your big headlock, fundamental, elementary move in wrestling. They try to establish the power advantage, and immediately Hogan goes down one day. Well, among the wrestling factions, many critics would put World Championship Wrestling number 3 in the pecking order behind the two NWO groups, I think especially with the recent defection of Sting and Walker. Can you imagine the shock around World Championship Wrestling if Goldberg were able to bring the World Heavyweight title back to WCW? Then you would watch the balance of power shift. And we talk so much about what a night this was, a history-making night. It's the biggest crowd ever to see a televised wrestling event on cable TV, and you're a part of it. And it could be the night where Goldberg walks away with the gold from arguably the greatest champion our sport has ever had. In Hollywood Hope, French injury at line. Goldberg trying to power down on him. Continuing sending Hogan back to the corner. Hogan gets a victory over Goldberg. You'll never be able to live with this man. You'll never hear the end of it. It'll destroy the sport. What does your Hogan really? What does your Hogan gouge the eyes and make it sweat that got down into Goldberg's eyes when he was flinching, digging into his eyes? I mean, you have to realize that Hogan has been in some big matches in some big venues against some big men. So this is nothing new to him. But I would dare say that there's never been a 100% crowd flow effective like what was here tonight. 100%, I would say. Hogan has to be the biggest name in the history of this sport. And I think you're looking at right there, that man Goldberg, who will go on to be the biggest name in this sport eventually someday. Only time will tell. What an opportunity tonight for this man. He followed his steps all through tonight. And Hogan takes the shortcut, goes to the ropes. Still a smart move on the part of Hollywood Hogan, using the ropes to get the break. He knows the highway. He knows every turn, every bump. Hogan's a very powerful man. Usually a move like that, he can hold his own all the time with leverage. Hogan did the right thing, and now because of it, the world's king. It's taking charge here. Well, he's strong now. He knows how strong he is now. He's been in it. We'll fight through that. That's confidence right there. This man's
He's got momentum. You can see the confidence in his face. And you can see it slipping away from Hogan. But then again, with Hogan, you never know. You never know.
Goldberg threw that bell to life. He doesn't want to take any shortcuts. He wants to earn the victory over Hogan.
We got. Come on, Ruby, stop chewing on everything.
That's some disqualification.
Oh, dog, I'm telling you.
He's done his homework.
Charles Robinson, though, moments ago, allowed the match to continue, even though Hogan had used the belt. Gentlemen, back to Charles Robinson. The fans want to see a clear cut finish. So do we. But the low blow by Hogan has given him this advantage. He made Hogan try the elbow drop twice. That was a great move. And he's back.
Ruby, get the fuck in here, man. Get the fuck in here. Yeah, you get the fucking cage. You get the cage. You want to get the cage? Huh? You want to get the cage? Cage up here.
The leader of NWO Hollywood. The man who has made so much of a difference in our sport on many levels. Goldberg trying to forge his own way. Again, his own status, his own legendary status, which in many ways has been paid since September 22nd of last year. We believe that of last year, less than a year here.
Yeah, I just got the magnets out of it, bro. Took a piece of metal in her stomach and I'm like, just come out with it on my mouth. I was bringing it to her asshole, but it wouldn't go.
Where the fuck's the doctor?
Steve, I don't know, my brother. This bitch finds shit, dog.
What are you doing?
It was stuck in. I took that metal iron.
Yeah, I bet.
It come all the way out. Woo! Let me see. Go in the bed. Go to the cage or the bed. The cage or the bed. Your choice. Cage or the bed.
And you belong here. For Goldberg, the time is right now. Because the champ is rolling with everything. Hogan with the strength of the weak one. Until here comes the inside. And we've got company. There's no more DDP. He kicked out from the moving weight room. That has Hollywood stunned.
He's ready.
Nice to meet you.
Get the fuck in here. Get the game, really. Get the game. Get in here. All right. Get in here. Get the game. Come on. Get in here. Get in there. Get in there. Yeah. 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 You going to room and stay in that bitch.
There's a partisan vote for the crowd, as you can hear. We're sold out. We're standing room only. There's fans still on the outside. We're standing around the parking lot, anywhere on the outside. So we're here this night. We're in the field. What's going on in here now? And we thank you for being with us wherever you may be around the world. You truly can, JR, feel it. You can truly feel it in the air. You can feel what's going on here. I can't help but say I've got a funny feeling myself about this. There's been so many guys, too. There's been so many superstars that have come down the pipe and have said they were going to beat me. But none of them have been able to get the job done. I got a funny feeling about tonight, JR. It's just 4-0 without forgiving time. It's been the late Owen Hart, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, and winning the infamous six-pack team. Unforgiven certainly seems to suit the world champion very well. Been one of the high impact stuff in the early going. I just don't think it's going to be the game plan. Oh, yeah, let's go, Bud's game plan. Talking about the birth of base. Believe the hope. It's not a new wrestler. He is a powerhouse. He is an intimidator. He is an animal with long hair. I think right now, Triple H believes the hype. Don't forget, Triple H, he became that. He's uncounted by. We've gone over these rules. I hope you understand them, ladies and gentlemen. Triple H, if he gets counted out or disqualified, he loses the title. If he gets pinned or made to submit, he loses the title. So this is not in Goldberg's business. This is where, it's been said about Goldberg that he's not the sharpest knife in the door, but believe me, he can still cut you. But you cannot stop. Go there and let Triple H lure you toward that rope and stop the referee's kick. When he's up to a 7, you gotta let him go. And Triple H back here in that way. Normal people, Goldberg's not normal. Normal folks, if they are right hand, works a little bit. Tonight, a win by count for Goldberg is just as good as he pins Triple H's shoulders to him. And this tournament, reverse about Goldberg. Face off that little bit of power there. Goldberg gets counted out. He gets disqualified. He loses. If he loses, Goldberg in the same form of fashion, he's out of the business. Former Austin, yeah, defensive tackle. He works in Georgia. He finds something else to do. Turns the right. What will he do? I have no idea. But Goldberg fighting again. Look at where Goldberg is. This is one thing I said. I don't think Triple H wants to get into a physical contest where you sling it out with Goldberg. I just don't think Triple H is going to win it. Triple H is going to beat Hulk Hogan. Triple H will beat Hulk Hogan in a fist fight. 5'10" Triple H cannot beat Goldberg in a fist fight. I don't think so either.
just got to lay back. Everybody gets to 10, this one's over. See, there's those words on the Goldberg's vocabulary. Lay back. See? He's like the kids now. He can't even wait till Triple H trying to pull him back inside. And the cerebral assassin thinking about Goldberg's overzealousness, his aggressiveness, and now Goldberg off to the outside.
That was a high. Yeah.
His high impact and intensity, no fear, high threshold of pain. Again, Triple H somehow is going to start negotiating Goldberg off Goldberg's feet. Easier said than done. Triple H has a high, I've seen Triple H get things from individuals that like you said, normal people wouldn't get it. Somehow Triple H, causing that fear, he doubled over under her. That slammed him, and the suplex is going to right here. And that is a smart move. It's a very cerebral move. It's right because Triple H had him scouted. Triple H may have been lured him, felt it. Look at this great position. You can see it in Triple H's eyes. I think he said it earlier, if he could, get Goldberg off his feet. Triple H almost talking about himself there. What is the next move? What's your idea? So much strength and tenacity, the will to win here. Goldberg wants that gun to break more than anything in the world. The heavyweight champion of the world. But Triple H is saying, will do anything, will seem to do everything. And Goldberg wants it, but is he willing to pay the price? Let me hold that in. You're going to go where it came from, Goldberg, so just get ready for it. Can you think about the man that Triple H has defeated to win this time? The Rollins, the Big Show. The Angles, the Austins, I mean, my God, he's a man, the only man I ever saw to beat Austin 2 out of 3 falls and beat Austin 2 straight falls. A lot of people like selling Triple H for 1 second, whether people like this man personally or not, totally irrelevant. He's a winner, and he's good in big match situations. Goldberg is back up to that vertical base. I know I'm going to wear it out, but that's what it's all about. Goldberg is vertical. Get on your ass. You got to get him down. Well, somehow Goldberg always finds a way. That's what Goldberg, I think somehow Triple H always finds a way to make it do fast. That's why I'm going to beat him. That's what I'm going to beat him. And then wraps that land around the ring post of Goldberg. And Goldberg, you got to think after an All-American high school career at Tulsa, Edison, All-Southeast Conference career in Georgia, and NFL career for the Falcons, he's had some knee problems. What football player hasn't? And Triple H exploiting that. That's why they call him the cerebral assassin. Look at what Goldberg is. Horizontal. Horizontal is good for Triple H. And that's where you get the 10. You got to be horizontal to get the 10. That's right there. Something else that I have thought of. Catching Goldberg again, the chop block. He did that today in the NFL. Did 15 yards. Here tonight is sleeping. Triple H now will take his time. As he singularly focused at the knees of Goldberg.
We have an extremely dangerous situation developing here in Southern California as people are racing to evacuate their homes as a wildfire explodes in Pacific Palisades. There was a major traffic jam forcing people to abandon their cars on the road and run toward the coast for safety. What you're seeing here is a picture from the airport. You can see how much the smoke is blanketing the city of Los Angeles, and here is an idea of the fire that they are dealing with. And then you can see those flames shooting into the sky in this neighborhood. In just a matter of hours, the fire consumed nearly 800 acres of the most expensive land and property in this country. Weather conditions described as life-threatening, destructive, and widespread. The National Weather Service warning of extremely critical fire danger as Southern California experiences the worst wind event in over a decade. Millions of people from Simi Valley to Chula Vista are under a red flag warning and other alerts as this extreme windstorm is bringing hurricane-force gusts to the west coast. And this is what is happening in this moment. You are seeing homes on fire. Again, we have heard of now at least 30 cars that were abandoned. People were left running.
There's a bunch of cars. I think about 600-700 cars from the same street that I was on. The car was like 5 homes up. I waited to see if the road's going to open up. Didn't open. I just left my car, ran down the hill.
Evacuations are underway in Los Angeles as a wildfire is ripping apart populated areas and spreading due to tornado-like winds. We're taking a live look right now over Los Angeles. You can just see that glow from the fire. There's multiple burning right now. At least 30,000 people are under evacuation orders in Pacific Palisades and in Santa Monica. This morning, more than 3,000 acres have burned, along with an unknown number of homes. And right now, as I mentioned, multiple fires burning. 3 in the broader LA area. Take a look. The powerful winds moving the flames at remarkable speed of about 80 miles per hour, burning across Southern California at the equivalent of 5 football fields per minute. Officials say the fire is particularly hard to fight because the department's planes and helicopters have been grounded due to those winds. On Sunset Boulevard, drivers were forced to abandon their cars after getting stuck in traffic, trying to evacuate the fire zone.
We got in the car to go, and then all the cars were abandoned, so I had nowhere to go, so I just had to get out of my car and start walking.
In order for firefighters to get to the flames, they had to carve a path, so a bulldozer had to push dozens of abandoned vehicles out of the way. The fire is expected to spread with gusts possibly topping 100 miles per hour in the mountains and foothills. Those are areas that have not seen substantial rain since last spring. Officials say this windstorm is the worst in more than a decade.
These are starting out as devastating wildfires spread through Southern California. Among the evacuees include several celebrities like Mark Hamill, who writes an update on his Instagram, quote, 7 p.m. personal fire update, evacuated Malibu. Last night there were small fires on both sides of the road as we approached PCH. He then later includes an update from who evacuated to his daughter's house in Hollywood, adding, quote, no scope for fire since 93. Celebrity chef Sarah Lee shares terrifying videos of the flames tearing across the Malibu coastline. She writes her caption, quote, my home in Malibu has gotten through some of the darkest moments of my life. I've loved creating it, embellishing it, building it, caring for it, and protecting it. If its living continues, I've cherished every moment I've had with it. As the fire draws closer, I pray for it. I pray for everyone in Los Angeles right now. What an incredibly terrifying moment for my community. Actress Mandy Moore takes some serious photos running, quote, evacuating safe for the kids, dog, and cats, praying and grateful for the first responders. On social media, reality star Spencer Pratt prompted the fire reaching out to his phone, posted later that after he and his wife Heidi Montag and their 2 children evacuated, his home was destroyed. Employing social media users to post facts about the fire, Jamie Lee Curtis writes on her Instagram, quote, my community and possibly my home is on fire. My family is safe. Many of my friends will lose their homes. Many other communities as well. There are so many conflicting reports. She continues saying, quote, if ever there was a need for the use of the phrase my hand in yours, it is right now. Take care of each other. Others certainly sent thanks and prayers for the firefighters and first responders battling the blazes, including Khloe Kardashian, who takes to social media writing in part on her Instagram stories, quote, resilience and tireless efforts to protect lives and communities are important. You are true heroes and we are incredibly grateful for all you do. Guardians of the Galaxy star Chris Pratt echoes her statement in his own post, writing, thank you to the great firefighters and first responders who are working tirelessly to protect lives, homes, and wildlife as they battle fast-moving wildfire fueled by fierce winds. You are true heroes and we are endlessly grateful for your sacrifice and courage. We come together to support one another during this tough time.
3,000 acres have been burned by 3 wildfires spreading right now in the Los Angeles area.
William watching us live in Malibu, California, standing in front of a burning home. He joins us.
Yeah, this is going to likely be the most destructive fire in state history based on what I've seen over the last 12 to 24 hours. I've been coming in north out of PCH. Pete came in from the south, and I can tell you, so this Pacific Ocean is literally right over there. These homes are right on the beach. There are 3 burning right now, as you can see. 3 others burned earlier. As I came down PCH from the north, I had to see about 24 homes burning along the beach like this. As you can see, the cliffs are on the right, the bluff here, and then this is PCH, and the ocean is literally right now to my left, to your left. But I got to tell you, this fire moved, it's so big, it moved so fast. There weren't enough firefighters to even begin to cover the thing. This thing moved so fast. It came right out of the Palisades, and it moved some to the south towards Santa Monica, a place called Chautauqua Canyon right now, Rusty Canyon. That's burning. according to the TV that I looked at earlier today. And then I came in from the north. Remember we started at Cross Creek in Malibu a month ago on that fire? This fire has virtually reached that area. We're talking about 5 to 10 miles in about less than 8 hours. And there are fires burning, and there are no fire crews anywhere to be seen because they are simply occupied somewhere else. The winds are dry, they're unpredictable, very strong. They reported some 99-mile-an-hour winds up in the mountain passes. Down here at the beach, around 50 miles an hour, gusting at least. Earlier tonight, I know there were 30,000 had been evacuated just in the Palisades fire. 10,000 homes were threatened. I can easily tell you that's going to be double by the time we get an update, probably this morning around 6 or 7 a.m. local. But you know, when we have this fire in the Palisades, you guys, people are used to seeing wildfires in Santa Barbara, Malibu, where houses are maybe 1 per acre, 1 every 2 acres or so. The Palisades is very, very dense. And when the fire started ripping through there, Palisades High School, up in that area, it's a very dense neighborhood. The topography is still, there's bluffs, there's ridges, there's hillsides there. And of course, as you guys know, fire moves very quickly uphill like that. And the winds are just are unpredictable, but they're so strong. The firefighters really have very little hope of saving some of these homes because it's just moving so fast. They brought in at one point in time out of Palisades, which again, very dense, very populated area, people trying to evacuate, and the flames started coming down, and they were forced to leave their cars. You probably heard about this. And policemen came up to them, and witnesses said, get out of your car and run if you want to live. And at this point in time, bulldozers had to come in and literally push those cars aside to make room for the fire trucks. And that was an area near Puerto Marino and parts of the Palisades. I'm going to send it back to you, but right now I can tell you we have fires in the Palisades, in Malibu, in Pasadena, Altadena, and Silmar. And this one in Malibu, they hadn't, when I went to bed last night, it hadn't even moved into this area. So you have these high winds are expected, peak winds right now, basically until 5 o'clock this morning, but still we're expecting high winds probably until Thursday. And the way this thing is moving, there's just going to be more homes destroyed.
William, I mean, yeah, absolutely. 0% containment, and we're hearing 5 football fields every single minute. That's how quickly this fire is moving. I mean, William, you've covered it all. And California is used to wildfires, but this feels like on an entirely other level. What separates this fire from things you've seen in the past?
Well, definitely the persistent high winds. I mean, when I was driving down, you had embers that looked like a snowstorm, really. I mean, it was just bouncing along PCH. As I came in today, I can't tell you how many down power lines and transformers and power poles were sticking right across PCH like this. So it's the strength of the wind, and of course, the longer it blows, the drier the vegetation. We're in technically our rainy season, our wet season. That should start basically November, December, January, February, and then it begins to tail off. And we've had marginal rain, honestly, over the last 2 months. It's been extremely dry, but this wind event is massive. I mean, it goes from, as many people know, LA is a basin, basically. We're surrounded by mountains. The San Bernardino, the Santa Susana, the San Gabriel, the Santa Monica, and those winds coming down with high pressure out of Las Vegas, and they come down through those canyons, and they really pick up steam. It's just the breadth of this thing right now is got all of Southern California on notice. And of course, what that means is firefighters are spread really, really thin. As I said, as I came down, there were fires burning, and there was no firefighters anywhere. They're doing their best, obviously, but they're occupied on different structures, and they can't get ahead of this thing. In fact, last night around 8 o'clock, they had to ground the helicopters and even the fixed wing because the winds were so strong. Earlier on the
Palisades fire, when it broke out, they had two Chinook helicopters and twin rotors, and they stopped dropping because the winds are so strong that by the time the retardant or the water was to hit the ground, it had gone about a football field, and so they couldn't target the water, the retardant, on the flames. So one of the firefighters at pressure said, what's the point of driving around and dropping retardant when you can't hit your target? So those are some of the problems and the challenges that we're having.
Let's go!
This episode of Black Eyes is brought to you by War Thunder. Hey, thanks for picking up. Today we're doing a whole competition. Someone mentioned it on the live stream a couple of weeks ago. Now we've done some more stories about holes. We should do a compilation. And I was like, wait, what? And then we went back and looked at the catalog, and we got something like 10 or 11 stories about holes and underground mysteries and all that stuff. So we're not going to do all of them, but I picked 6 or 7 of my favorites. And really, the only way to kick off a good whole compilation is with the classic. I have no idea. He was supposed to be here hours ago. Hello, we're supposed to shoot today. Take this video. Nothing proficiency metrics like that. You found the winner. I didn't know you were in the Navy. Really? Today's sponsor. War Thunder is the ultimate vehicle for that game. Play on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and on iOS and Android. The mobile version offers intuitive controls, simple graphics, and massive multiplayer warfare with battles across land, sea, and air. In War Thunder, you're not just a player, you're a commander. Choose among over 2,500 vehicles from 10 nations. Tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships. And 1920s airplanes, tanks, and fighter jets and tanks. Each vehicle is crafted with realistic graphics and is designed to make you feel truly in the action. Each vehicle has a realistic damage model with individual parts like engines, fuel tanks, and weapons vulnerable to damage. Armor shells and missiles all behave like they work in your life. With 3 modes: arcade for quick action, realistic for balanced challenge, and simulator for the ultimate test. War Thunder has a place now for everyone. And if customization is your thing, War Thunder has endless options with camouflages, swappable markings, community created decorations for every vehicle you need. With over 70 million players, War Thunder offers top-tier gameplay and rich historical detail, perfect for military history fans, and runs smoothly on modern devices and responds to hardware needed. And for a limited time, new returning PC and
There's no other words to describe it because the pictures and the videos that we have today, of course, yeah, the beautiful class, we're going to talk about the seconds out here, these bozos. These bozos need to pay taxes, man. Come on, man. So I want to show you some beautiful videos, but also we have the Palisades situation, the LA fires, the California fires, and yeah, let me put this picture up on the screen here for you. It really looks like the city just got, I mean, big. Look at that. Straight looks like straight from a movie. But it's real. That's the thing. This thing is real. It's crazy. Praise God for everybody out there in Los Angeles if you're stuck there. And the amount of videos that we have, we've got videos coming straight from China, Israel, and we have a passenger filmed this one here. Look at that. It's only visible in 3 to 4 frames. We're going to be taking a look at that, and on top, we got a whole lot of these videos. We got the Pony Casper side. I want to show you guys this clip too. Like the video if you love videos like these. Subscribe if you're brand new. And first of all, this video is coming straight from China, is said in the captions. Yeah, that's not a drone. Just straight up like a ball of light. Where are you guys going that fast? Come down, let's talk. I mean, to be honest though, if this is really in China, because that's what the captions are now saying, Xi Jinping, with the president of China, probably gonna social credit the F out of them. Like, let's be real. Yeah, this is no chance. I mean, at least
years that the universe has existed. As a result of credence to theories that quantum computing taps into a multiverse of parallel universes. Dr. Willow, the new chip has 105 so-called qubits, the building blocks of quantum machines. They are so fast, but also very error-prone, and can be upset by something as tiny as a constant surge with multiple. Now Google says it's found a way to make them more reliable, and says it can also correct errors in real time. That's a big step towards helping be practical to a computer. Google knows such voices could one day turn a huge concept in fields like AI and medicine. So one day it said that even under ideal conditions, it would take a regular computer 1 billion years to get the same results as Willow. Processors are being plotted at a new purpose-built facility in Santa Barbara, California. Rival firms have focused on more chips with more qubits. Google says improving reliability is the key to delivering a workable system. I know this sounds crazy, but there was a very little known announcement, kind of, that happened over the weekend that no one is talking about. And it is the biggest news story of possibly all human history. So here we go. According to the manifesto, the aircraft are actively being deployed both in the United States and China, and not just this prototype since top secret. That's what the operation. Apparently, we allude to the fact that this is what we're seeing in the drones. The whistleblower claimed that China has been launching these systems from submarines stationed in the Atlantic right off our east coast. Now let that sink in for a minute. If this is true, silent, undetectable aircraft capable of carrying massive payloads launched from submarines that can remain undetected just miles from our shores or even up above the White House, and no one would know. He claimed that he had direct knowledge of these programs. He says they have been used in China for years, conducting intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance operations. It goes along with our spy balloon. You remember the spy balloon? He says these gravitic systems are integrated with that same network, and they form a system of surveillance that is so advanced. He says it makes our current intelligence look like carrier pigeons. So he says that these are the greatest national security threat in history. And if we do have gravitic aircraft, or China is absolutely right, because it would bypass every single defense system that we have. Imagine an aircraft with an unlimited payload capacity, a floating fortress, invisible, delivering weapons or conducting surveillance, parked over our capital in D.C. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but there was a very little known announcement, kind of, that happened over the weekend that no one is talking about. And it is the biggest news story of possibly all human history. So hear me out on this. Now, according to the manifesto, the aircraft are actively being deployed both in the United States and China, and not just as prototypes in some secret. What are you doing? Ah, man. Go, dog. I don't know where you're going. Eating all my shit up, man. Tearing my drawers, my clothes up, man. We were in that damn thing. I was fucking out of fucking hand with you. So Aircraft are actively being deployed in the United States and China, not just as prototypes in some secret desert lab operation. Apparently, he alluded to the fact that this is what we're seeing with the drones. A whistleblower claimed that China has been launching these systems from a submarine station in the Atlantic over the East Coast. Well, let that sink in for a minute. If this is true, silent, undetectable aircraft capable of carrying massive payloads launched from submarines that can remain undetected just miles from our shores, even above the White House, and no one would know. Now, he claimed that he had direct knowledge of these programs. He says they had been used in China. Since then, this frequency, which is commonly sound, is so changing dimensions. They say the objects they are
Don't laugh, I'm magazine. Horrible, man. It really is, bro.
But something else.
See a number of videos on TikTok about this dream. The outlying circumstances tend to vary, but the main part of the dream is always the same. And the underlying actually, how many of you have had the dream? If you have had the dream that I'm about to describe, you don't have to describe the dream in detail. You can just say, I had the dream. It's up to you. All right. You are standing, looking at the sky. You could be looking out a window, at your car window, in your house, or maybe standing in your yard or somewhere. But you're looking at the sky. The location does tend to vary, but there's always a location associated with it. You are witnessing fire rain down, fireballs that sort of comment something raining down onto the ground, causing catastrophic damage. Also, many people are reporting water involved with it. Whether that's a wave or they look around and see that the area is inundated with water, there's some sort of water involved a lot of times. But the main focus of this dream is fire from the sky. Have you had this dream? If you have, at least let me know. Thank you for feeling in recent times.
I understood the assignment. Did the assigner of the assignment understood who they were assigning the assignment to? You have to ask the assigner on that one. Personally, I don't think they did any research. I understood the assignment. Did I understood the assignment. Did the assigner of the assignment understood who they were assigning the assignment to? You have to ask the assigner on that one. Personally, I don't. The Supreme Court hearing on the TikTok ban has just finished, and here's a complete breakdown. I watched the entire thing live, and let's break down arguments. There were some funny points that happened here, but I have to admit, out of the gate, things look really good for TikTok. Arguments on the TikTok ban started at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It went over 2 hours, going back and forth. But I have to admit, I feel like in the beginning, maybe the judges didn't understand the algorithm and things with TikTok, but by the end of it, they understood. Remember, the U.S. government is saying that this is a national security issue because TikTok, right there, China could have its data given to the Chinese government and used against U.S. citizens. TikTok, on the other hand, the ban is actually done by Francisco and family lawyers, states here that no, getting rid of this is a First Amendment. It's a freedom of speech are now ripping away. And the judges also had to clarify that you're talking about the algorithm being the First Amendment. A lot of the discussion back and forth had to deal with whether or not TikTok can function in the United States independently of ByteDance's algorithm, in which they explain in great detail. Essentially, no. A great example of this is saying if you uploaded a video saying Ireland, we would not be able to see that here in the U.S. platform. Same thing, if we upload a video here, you wouldn't be able to see it. The algorithm is built so that they can all communicate together. So if we slice off the U.S., there's no way to communicate the algorithm between the entire world.
Okay, now it's official. So I got in trouble and I got a demerit and a post was taken.
Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people? What app are we going to? Instagram is not fucking it. Where am I going to find this type of organic content again? Let me know. Do you have thoughts? Okay, now it's official because TikTok just announced that they're leaving the United States on the 19th. So where are we going, people?
Stop it! This is fucked up, huh? Fucked up shit here. Oh, great. This motherfucker done pissed in here, bro. You done pissed in this motherfucker.
What?
Look at this thing. Look at the motherfucking ass. Look at that. Stupid ass fucking dog, bro. Fucking bullshit. Fuck this shit, bro.
Wild Turkey 101.
not taking any fucking cigarettes. I know. I can see this motherfucker being all nice and clean, this, that, and the other, and just stabbing me in the back. We're gonna go back on this fucking videotape and see how many fucking cigarettes I smoked. Ah.